So, behind me, again, ooh, that'd be the San Francisco Harbor Bridge. And in front of me, in the front of the camera, we turn around, look around, all right towards, right there, to the background, that's Alcatraz. And the history, of course, is this was originally a Spanish colony, UEBs, Y-U-E-B. Then the basically guys coming from the west, from the United States, decided that what they really felt was that they deserved California more than the Spanish did. And so basically a bunch of filibusters, which had various names such as the Native Sons of the Golden West, which is basically up the hill there on Mason Street, runs intersections on Suda Hill, which is right next to where the Bohemian Grove was. So all these guys all around the area, these very exclusive clubs, but they were basically made up of very, very wealthy people who believed that they were more entitled to the West should be basically a white colony, and they went and just took it. And a year later, 1848, gold was found in California in 1849, found at Suda's Mill by James Marshall, who was a very nice guy and subsequently didn't make a goddamn bean. And very shortly afterwards, that everybody started arriving in California. And again, maybe, San Francisco also had a lot to do before even California goldfields of 1849. It was the Yukon rush, which again was San Francisco was actually a very pivotal part in terms of the financing and the finance of the Yukon. So it was not entirely unrelated, but it's kind of interesting also when you look at a lot of these societies like the Bohemian Club, and you look at the symbolism they have with the owl, the tracing board, the atlas, which is you see on the outside of the Sons of the Golden West. It's all basically about knowing about the resources and thus being able to take domination, and then actually by knowing the angles, so you can also kind of outthink and out rat bastard yourself. And so effectively these guys took over, and again it's like that provided money from the railways that went from west to the east, as basically the migrating colonies kind of went westward to begin with, to more of the land and opportunity and freedom. And then once gold was found, the mining push kind of went the other way around. It went west, east, connected up with the railways, the great railways, which connected from Chicago down to Salt Lakes, which also basically allowed the shipment, transportation backwards and forwards of beef. Up until then, the staple diet of American people had been actually pork. It wasn't until the railways were developed, and again, that was a big part of the Civil War, in terms of what was available. Hey, there's a whole bunch of cows in Texas, we'll feed that to the troops. Hey, they quite like it. Bang, you got a train time. And that also pretty much will look to that whole area, the Californian area down to Phoenix and Arizona, largely controlled by white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, and these were their own, power cliques, and they largely ruled supreme as the top dog up until about the late 1930s, when, in fact, 1905 was when the railway link connected from Las Vegas to, the railway to Las Vegas was then the link gave us a connection to Los Angeles. And at that point, that's when there's a very strong Italian connection that starts to push through, and that starts to take over Las Vegas, and that's where you've got that so many of the streets in Las Vegas are actually named after Bugsy Siegel, again, this Italian reference. Although you do see that in California, because of course, partnered with the miners that came for gold in California were obviously the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, but you also had the Garibaldi movement, and a lot of Italian miners were coming here and then mining and sending money back to Italy to fund the unification and the democracy movement funded by Garibaldi, who would also very much integrated himself with the Federalists, who would appear again as a moving, shaping force behind the Eureka uprising in Australia in the 1860s. And again, you see even very much an influence of that miners' law moving into New Zealand with the 1861 gold rush, which then, once the gold pooted out, moved into the gold mine, and then to the coal mine uprising in 1905. And again, that whole red shirt of the Labour Party, you can trace it all the way back to the California gold mine from the 1849s to the Garibaldi movement. So, anyway, it's been pretty damn amazing trip coming out this way. And it's kind of interesting, like the areas that I picked, because I wanted to look at the cowboy aspect and then flush out some of the framework behind Mum's character. She's done some really great work on guys like Humboldt County and Sudas Mill, and given the Pacifics. And I wanted to kind of give a little bit more of the geopolitical background of the ducks. It's getting into the winter season now, so the ducks are all getting ready to move out. You can't probably see that, but nope, not picking them up. Anyway, so basically that's what I'm doing, and the route that I'm picking is actually really working out quite well, because it very much is effectively I'm following the money basically, and it's working really. That's actually quite amazing. These beautiful flocks of these, we're at the end of summer and it's just turning into the autumn, and the temperature is still very, very pleasant. But you can, as I move towards like Chicago and New York, I'm going to have to start thinking about what kind of clothing I want to wear, because right now I've been wearing t-shirts and like jackets when I've been doing my formal thing. But anyway, nice to have you here, and I hope you're enjoying the little videos and photos I'm sending you back. And we'll be doing a really good show, pretty much looking at San Francisco's secret society, the underbelly. We'll be looking at the Irish movement and how they actually, again, Irish came here, they raised money, they used it to get ships to go down to Australia, to prison break, put people out of Australia, bring them back here. You actually had the group I need to probably do a little bit looking before I get a chance is the Sydney Ducks, which were probably like, do you hear about the gangs of New York? Well, before them were the Sydney Ducks, and these were basically Irish convicts that had been sent to Australia, and then from Australia they made, when gold came out, they made their way to San Francisco. So you had the point in the basically early 1849, 1850, the biggest crime organised syndication actually in San Francisco were a bunch of Australians, well actually Irish Australians, but I like to think bloody Australians, you just can't take them anywhere, can you? Well, you can take them twice, once to steal a silver medal and once to apologise. So anyway, they turn up and they basically burnt down San Francisco about 4 or 5 times, and they used to say when there was a big crime wave going, the ducks are out there cackling tonight. Eventually they kind of pushed it to, and there's a whole flock of, you guys can see that, but there's a whole flock of pelicans just shooting on through. That's a pretty incredible sight too. I love to actually see the wildlife as much as the urban history is kind of cool, but when you see moments like that, or a squirrel comes up and does this Vogue pose, it's pretty fucking sweet. And lots of people out there are just enjoying the yachting out there, because it's a very much a yachting community, which again has a link from San Francisco to New Zealand for the America's Cup. And again, a lot of the characters who are running the America's Cup, New Zealand, dodgy people, but they're running it through people or networks through San Francisco, which again links back to that old gold money. So a pretty incredible trip, and I'm really enjoying it. And sometimes it's kind of hard work, and sometimes like I can't get the food I want to eat, but very much first world problems. That boat is doing you can't see it out there, it looks very calm out there, but there's a boat out there that's pitching backwards and forwards, because the current that actually comes through here is quite phenomenal. But we'll leave it alone, because otherwise